Today I'm going to teach you how to make a granny square. Hey babes! Welcome back to Moon Bay Crochet. It is Brandy, and today I wanted to teach you how to make one of my favorite things in all of crochet, a granny square. I have a little tiny granny square here for you today. I actually planned on making a 5-row granny square. This is only a 3-row, and it's only because my yarn kept getting tangled in the middle of me trying to film the tutorial, so I made it smaller than I wanted to, but I put all the fundamental information in there so that you are able to make a granny square as tiny or as huge as you want it to be. Granny squares are perfect, amazing building blocks for so many different types of projects, or they can be their own entire project. If you make one big enough, you could make it a blanket. You could just do so much with it, so it's really cool. Let's not talk about why I'm wearing a Christmas themed sweater in the middle of March, okay? I'm a Christmas girl. And also it's a Game of Thrones reference, but whatever. It says let it snow. It's Jon Snow. Anyway, you didn't come here for that, so let's hop right into the tutorial. The materials you will need in order to make a granny square will be, of course, some yarn and a hook. The type of yarn I'm using today, like in all my other tutorials, is a size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. This one is by Loops and Threads, the Impeccable yarn in the color Kelly Green. And then this here is my trusty hook. Today I'm using a 5mm hook by the Clover Amour brand. So let's jump right into the tutorial. The first step in order to make a granny square will be to make a magic ring. Now I did show how to make a magic ring in my last tutorial, which was how to crochet in the round. So if you are not, my gosh, sorry, doesn't seem that I can talk and do this at the same time. But if you are not familiar with how to make a magic ring, go ahead and check out that tutorial. I do it a little bit more slowly so you can maybe get the hang of it in case you are absolutely brand new to crochet. So the next step will be, we are going to chain 2. And the reason I chain 2 and not 3 is because this little chain that we use to secure the magic ring is kind of like our first chain. So this is a chain 3, which will count as our first double crochet. So next up, we are going to put 2 more double crochets into our magic ring here. So yarn over, insert the hook into the magic ring, yarn over, pull through. Now I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is so far 2 double crochets. So we're going to do one more. Yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And that is 3 double crochets, which is called a shell, a granny shell. So next, we're going to go ahead and chain 2. And now we're going to make another granny shell, which will be 3 double crochets into the magic ring. So yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Another one, yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And last one, yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 2 granny shells in our magic ring. And do you see how this chain 2 is almost kind of looking like a corner? That's exactly what you want, because this is going to be a square after all. So literally you're going to repeat that same process 2 more times. You go chain 2 and insert into the magic ring a granny shell, which will be 3 double crochets. That's the next 3. That's your next shell. Chain 2. Go ahead and do 3 more double crochets. Chain 2 more, and that is that. So now, in order to start getting this to look like a square, we're going to go ahead and take the tail from our magic ring, pull it tight, secure it, and then all we're going to do is slip stitch to the top of this first chain 3 here. slip stitch, just like that. And now, if you put this down here, you can kind of see it looks like the beginning of a little square. It's super cute. So, this isn't like a necessary step. You could absolutely just start kind of like working here, but what I do is I like to slip stitch through these two double crochets here so that I can get into this little corner space here. So what we're going to do is slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the entire space right here. You don't have to go into one of the chains because that's a little difficult. And once you are in that chain space, what we're going to do is create our next corner. So in a corner space, which all of these are going to be corner spaces because this is barely our first, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm like untangling my yarn over here. But in this particular round, each one is going to be a corner. So what we're going to do is chain up 3, then we're going to go ahead and yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2 for our second double crochet. Then yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, so that's one shell. But in order to make this a corner, we're going to go ahead and chain 2, and then right back into this exact same corner space, go ahead and insert another whole shell, which is 3 double crochets. And this is because we want our square to grow, and we need, each corner to continue to be a corner. So now you have 2 shells and a chain 2 all in this same space. So what we're going to do now is just chain 1 to give us a little bit of space so that we can go into this next corner space here. And what you're going to do in order to get into that corner space is just insert another shell. So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then of course 2 more double crochets in order to finish that shell. But now we need this to be another corner just like this one. So go ahead and chain 2, and then into this same space, go ahead and insert another whole shell. Making granny squares can seriously be so simple and fun. They're nice building blocks. So there we go. Now we got these 2 corners going. We're going to need 2 more. So in between a corner space and the next one, you're going to go ahead and always chain 1 to give yourself a little bit of extra room. Then yarn over, insert a shell, which is of course 3 double crochets. And once that shell is done, go ahead and chain 2 and insert another shell into the exact same corner space. And now to get into our last corner, of course, chain 1, insert a shell into your last corner space, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2 for that corner, and then 1 more shell into the same corner space. And then you go ahead and just chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3 that we made. Just to slip stitch, you insert, pull through, and pull through. No yarning over or anything. And that is that. So that is the second round of our granny square. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull our initial tail a little tighter so that we don't have that little gap in the middle there. But now, same like how I did it starting the last round, I always like to start in a corner. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of the second double crochet, slip stitch into the top of the third one, and then slip stitch right into that corner. Now, same, like basically you're just following these same rules for the rest of, the squares, except now we have a middle space to deal with, that chain 1. So I'll show you what to do there. So You know what to do in a corner. We're going to go ahead and chain 3 to start. Add 2 more double crochets because your chain 3 will count as your first double crochet for your shell. And then, because it's a corner, like I said, you go ahead and chain 2. And in that same corner space, 1 more shell, 3 double crochets. And now, similar like with the last round, we will be chaining 1 to get to our next space. But now the corner is not our next space. This chain 1 here is our next space. And what you're going to want to do here is just add 1 shell. So 3 double crochets into that middle space there. See that? Then we're going to chain 1, and you see that our next space here is a corner. So you're going to go shell, oh my goodness, my yarn keeps tangling on me. This is so annoying. Can you stop? Okay. Anyways, shell, chain 2, and then another shell in the same space. So how I want you to think about the granny square after you get past the first and second rounds is every corner space is going to get shell, chain 2, shell, which is a corner, and every chain 1 space is going to get just 1 shell. So chain 1, 1 shell. Corner space, 2 shells plus a chain 2. So now that we've made it past that corner, go ahead and chain 1, go 1 shell in the chain 1 space, because it's not a corner. Chain 1 to get to that corner, and of course go with the corner pattern, which is shell, chain 2, and shell. You're going to go ahead and repeat that. Chain 1, 1 shell in the chain 1 space, and shell, chain 2, shell in every corner space. And I will go ahead and meet you back where we're going to join it for the end of our third round. Alright, so I'm just doing my final shell in the chain 1 space after that last corner. And then of course to finish off, just chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 from the beginning of the round. And essentially this is like the foundation, okay? Because now it's just a repeating pattern, right? I'm going to slip stitch to get into this corner, then do my corner space, which is shell, chain 2, shell, and now I have 2 chain 1 spaces in between each, like side. So 1 shell here, 1 shell here, and that brings me to the corner, which will be which will be shell, chain 2, shell, then 1 shell, 1 shell, corner space, shell, chain 2, shell, all the way until I get to the beginning. And basically that is it. You can continue making rounds for as big or as small as you want. You could leave your granny square this tiny and make a bunch of them and turn them into a little project made up of small squares, but you could also make the granny square as gigantic as you want it. You could turn it into one giant square and make it like a blanket or something. The world is your oyster when it comes to granny squares. Like, they could be as big as you want, as small as you want. You can use them as building blocks for other projects such as patchwork cardigans, or you could use them as the building blocks for like a tote bag, or I don't know, pillows. There's so many things that you could do with them. You could make kind of like a 10-inch square and turn that, like make 2 of them, maybe sew them together, fill it with stuffing, and it could be like a pillow, or I don't know, you could make like a gigantic 80-inch square, depending on how much yarn you have at your disposal, and you could make it into one giant square shaped blanket. And I mean, that's really the beauty of granny squares. There's so much that you can do with them. All you are going to need to remember is the fundamental steps of how to make the corner spaces, not forgetting to add those chain twos, not forgetting to put 2 shells in each corner, and then not, skipping any of the middle chain 1 spaces, which each need 1 shell. But other than that, I mean, you're solid. And that is basically the gist of how to make a granny square. I hope I didn't go too fast. This felt a little quicker than most of my tutorials, but I hope it was helpful. If there's any beginners out there who felt that I went a little bit too fast, please don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything that I could explain a little bit better. Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever used Impeccable yarn by Loops and Threads, but I find that it gets tangled like so easily. I really wanted to make it to the end of my round, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because the yarn got tangled and I really don't want to fight with it right now. So I'm just going to take this round out. And again, this is what we love about crochet. It is so forgiving. Look how easily it comes out without ruining the rest of your work. Love to see it. But yeah, so this is basically a 3-round granny square. I usually make like 5-round granny squares. That's kind of usually my go-to size. But like I said, like you can seriously make a granny square as big, as small, as whatever as you'd like. And like, look how cute it is. And you started all this from a circle, but turned it into a square just based on the shapes that the yarn makes when you like add 2 chains and stuff to make corners and whatever. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider giving it a like, and if you find my channel helpful or entertaining at all, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Thank you so much for being here as always. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day, week, month, night, whatever you're having. Please enjoy yourself, and I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye.